Angel Besties. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Rachel. In today's video, I'm going to be going through all of the books that I have given 5 stars to this year so far. So I really wanted to do this video, number one, because I think it's a fun way to look back at your year thus far. We are a little more than halfway through the year, and I think it's just interesting to see what books have really stuck out to me and what books I have given 5 stars to. Also, another reason why I wanted to do this video, I have just been having the most average / disappointing reading month. I have not given a book 5 stars at all this month. It's been several weeks, and it makes me really sad. I'm a little bit bummed out. So I was like, you know what? I want to talk about books that I love, books that really impacted me this year. And you know, I need to get the good vibes going. So that is what we are going to be doing today. I'm going to be starting at the beginning of the year, going through all the books that I have given 5 stars to up until this point, and just talk about them with you and why they were 5 stars for me. All right, so my very first 5 star of 2023 is a very good one, and it is Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. I will also say my second 5 star of the year was Volume 4 of Heartstopper, so I'll talk about these two together. I absolutely love this series. There is some magic in these graphic novels. I read Heartstopper Volumes 1 and 2 last year, never having read a graphic novel series before, didn't really know what I was going to think, and I was absolutely floored by the pure joy and happiness that I felt while reading those. I decided to pick up these two at the beginning of this year because I wanted to continue what was out so far of this series, and it was incredible. Very well-deserved 5 stars. Particularly in Volume 3, they go to Paris on like a class trip, which I think was super fun. And I just feel like Alice Oseman is able to balance, you know, talking about some difficult life stuff, things that you go through, some heavier topics, with this just pure joy and celebrating who you are, loving who you love, being who you want to be. And even when those heavier topics are brought up, I still walk away from these graphic novels with happiness and joy in my heart. I just think that these are really powerful and important stories, and they make me really happy. So these are very well-deserved 5 stars. I absolutely love the series. I cannot wait for the next volume to come out, and definitely a great way to start my year. All right, and then my next 5 star is my first like proper novel that I've given a 5 star to in 2023, and that was Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I am just chasing the high that I felt while reading this book. This was my very first Brandon Sanderson novel. I didn't know what to expect, and I was absolutely blown away by just how quickly I fell in love with Brandon Sanderson's writing style, with these characters, with the plot. I was fully in like after the first couple of chapters. I absolutely love all of our characters here. Lightsong and Blushweaver will just forever live in my heart. There was never a point while I was reading this book that I was bored or that I felt like things were slowing down. I was fully engaged the entire time, and it made me so excited because I was like, okay, I get the Brandon Sanderson hype, and then that definitely motivated me to continue on with reading his books. So this book has a very special place in my heart. It introduced me to Brandon Sanderson. It introduced me to a world and writing style that I really connected to, and I just think that this book is super special. My next 5 star of the year was Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This book was absolutely fantastic. I was kind of late to the game on picking this book up because this book was very popular when it came out, I think 1 or 2 years ago, but I wanted to pick it up. I've heard good things, obviously, and I just did not know the level that I was going to connect and care about these characters with. Eve and Jacob, I think, are 2 very special characters, and I also just had so much fun. There's so much humor and wit in this book, and the romance between these 2 is very believable and wonderful. It was a much spicier book than I thought it was going to be, and I just really love Talia Hibbert's writing style. I ended up tabbing this book and underlining some quotes that I particularly felt were really special, and I just think that this is a really solid romance. It's definitely one of my favorite romances I have ever read, and a book that just really blew me away. My next 5 star of the year was Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is the 3rd book in the Chestnut Springs series, and it is so good. It is so freaking good. We have a hockey player and a ballerina. We have childhood best friends to lovers. We have a male love interest who absolutely hates himself. What more could you want, honestly? I love Elsie Silver. She is probably my favorite romance author of all time. When I first picked this series up, I really didn't know what I was going to think. I really was not sure that I was going to like the ranch and bull rider aspect of it and just all of that. You know, I just didn't know what I was going to think. And I just absolutely fell in love with her writing style and her characters, the way that she writes romance, tension, spice. Everything is 10 out of 10 to me. And this book just really stood out to me in the series. This is my second favorite book in the series. Nothing can top Heartless for me, honestly. But Jasper is my favorite male love interest in this entire series. I love him so much. He is a little bit darker, a little moodier, has, you know, some inner demons, and his and Sloane's development from, you know, helping each other out, being childhood best friends, growing together, then growing apart was really well done. And I just think that this book is so special and deserves all the stars. All right, my next 5 star I'm so excited to talk about. I cannot shut up about this book, and I never will. And that is Project Hail Mary Mary by Andy Weir. You guys have heard me talk this book to death, but this is such a special 5-star to me because I decided to do a reading vlog where I read books out of my comfort zone for funsies, and let me tell you, I did not expect to love a book this much out of that reading vlog. This is a sci-fi novel. I'm not a sci-fi girly. Apparently I am, because this is one of the best books that I've ever read in my entire life. The writing style is fantastic. It is witty, it is humorous, it is super relatable. Our characters are very special and very unique. And Rocky, that's it. That's all I have to say. Rocky deserves 5 stars. Ryland deserves 5 stars. The entire story is fascinating and grips you and keeps you interested and makes you laugh and makes you emotional. And when I finished this book, I just burst into tears because that's just what I do. But I was really overwhelmed with just how much I loved this and how just like that feeling of, oh, I just read one of my new favorite books of all time. That happened once I finished this book. So I just absolutely love this book. I need everyone to read it. Please use the audiobook. I'm gonna make a big statement here. I think the audiobook is kind of necessary to read this book and to fully kind of grasp what's going on. If you know, you know. But this is a really special book. It means the world to me, and I will forever be recommending it. All right, my next 5-star that I'm going to talk about is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. We have another Brandy Sandy, you guys. This is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy, and this was very different, I feel like, from Warbreaker. I definitely, when I first picked it up, didn't quite know how I was going to feel. It was one of those like slow burn 5 stars where after you finish it, you go, oh my god, of course this is a 5-star. I, once again, absolutely loved the characters in this book. Kelsier and Vin are very special to me, and I thought that the plot was intricate and interesting and not really like anything I've ever read before. And also the fact that Brandon Sanderson was really willing to just pack a punch and do some crazy things plot-wise and character-wise. I really appreciated it. I feel like this book is really strong. I will say, I'm just gonna mention this now, the second book in this series I have read, which is The Well of Ascension, and I think I gave it 3.5 stars, something like that. I was kind of disappointed by it, so I am sad because I wanted to just give Brandon Sanderson all the stars, but Warbreaker and The Final Empire are definitely my favorites from him, and hopefully, you know, when I pick up his future books, because I'm definitely going to continue on with this series and the Stormlight Archives, I will find some more 5 stars, but this is a really strong start to a fantasy series, and I had a great time reading it. My next 5-star that I wanted to talk about is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This is another very special 5-star to me because I had read one other book by this author and I didn't really love it. I gave it 3 stars. It was fine, it was good, but it did not really leave an impression on me. So I had kind of been like, well, maybe Abby Jimenez just isn't for me. I don't think I'm gonna pick up anything by her. But I just saw so many glowing reviews of this book that I bought into the hype and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give her another shot. Let's see if Abby and I can come to some agreement here. And I was sucked in, obsessed, overwhelmed with how much I loved this book. I read this in one sitting. I could not put it down. I don't know if I have ever read such wonderful anxiety representation in a romance novel. Jacob, our male love interest, has anxiety, and just the way that the author handled that, depicted that, I thought it was really well done, really relatable, and I absolutely loved seeing how that took place in a developing romance, and I thought that it was really special to incorporate those real life aspects and also still write a very satisfying and beautiful love story. I think this is a very special book. I think this is a very important book. It was a little bit like therapy, you know? It was a little bit painful at times. It was a little bit like, oof, I relate to that a little bit too much. But by the end, I was just so happy that I read this. Very strong book for me. Okay, my next 5-star I want to talk about is Clockwork Princess, Trigger Warning. I know that this book elicits a lot of feelings with people. What can I say? What can I say? You guys know, you already know. This book is beautiful. This book, the entire Infernal Devices trilogy really, but this book in particular kind of restored my faith in Cassandra Clare's writing, and if I wanted to continue on with her books, I mean, that's a little bit dramatic because I own all of them, so I should just be reading all of them anyway, but I had read like the first Mortal Instruments books and I was like, okay, yeah, these are like fun, but like nothing's really sticking out to me to make me want to continue on with it, and then the Infernal Devices were like, hold on, babe, you gotta experience this first, and then you can decide if you want to continue on with the Shadowhunter books, and oh my god. This is an incredibly well-written and beautiful romance fantasy series. Like, I was stunned at how many emotions this book made me feel. The entire trilogy is really strong to me. I gave Clockwork Angel and Clockwork Prince 4 stars, like very strong 4 stars, but this book put me over the edge. This book was a lot. It is kind of exhausting in the most wonderful way, and I just think that it's a very special and beautiful book. I absolutely love these characters. I love Will, I love Jem, I love Tessa, I love them all. And I was really just, I don't know if surprised is the right word, but I just did not think that I would like it as much as I did. It has a very, very special place in my heart. I think it's beautiful. I am absolutely going to continue on with these Shadowhunter books, and that is definitely because of Clockwork Princess. This book is just really incredible and amazing, and the pain that you go through while reading it is kind of awful at times, but it's a really fantastic reading experience, and I absolutely loved it. All right, so now we're just getting to the Carissa Broadbent section of the video. I feel like all of my videos have Carissa Broadbent sections. You guys already know. You already know what I'm about to talk about, so let's just do this kind of rapid fire. Number one, Six Scorched Roses. This is a novella, part of the Crowns of Nyaxia series. It is a vampire fantasy romance. This was stunning. This writing style in this book particularly is, I think, some of Carissa's best. I thought that the relationship between Vale and Lilith was it had this tone of mystery and darkness, and the writing was super lush and rich and romantic, and it really just, it did a lot in, I think this is like a 180-page book, something like that. It did so much. It doesn't feel like this short kind of one-shot moment. I feel like there's a full story here, and I thought that it was really, really well done. So 5 stars, obviously. And then The Love of My Life, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. This is my favorite book of Carissa's. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I stand by my review on Goodreads. This is a perfect fantasy romance. Infinity stars out of 5. I don't know what else could have been done to this book to make it better in any way. I think that there's absolutely no room for improvement here. Reading this made me so happy. This was my most anticipated read of the year. So I was very nervous because I love The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I did not know what I was going to think of the sequel, and I just hoped that it was going to live up to that book because that book is fantastic as well. This exceeded my expectations in every single way. The romance was super well done. The fantasy plot was really fantastic. I think that Carissa does some of the best balance of fantasy plot and romance. Rain and Araya are one of my absolute favorite fictional couples, and I think about this book a lot, and it just deserves every single star. All right, and the final Carissa Broadbent book that I will be talking about that I also gave 5 stars was Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. So this is a standalone novel that does exist in the Crowns of Nyaxia world. It is, of course, vampire fantasy romance, and what I loved about this book so much is this opens up the world in the Crowns of Nyaxia series so much. In the section of the Crowns of Nyaxia series that we are in right now, we're focusing on the Nightborn vampires. This book focuses a little bit more on the Bloodborn vampires, which are just another facet of this world that I know that we're going to explore more in depth down the line in the series, but this was a really cool peek at what that world has to offer. And I just think that this whole entire world and all of these different types of vampires and all of their magic systems and everything, it's fascinating, and I think that it's really, really well done. I think that the world building in this book in particular is really, really fantastic, and I love the romance. It's your classic I'm supposed to kill you but, which I eat up every time. I really love these 2 characters, and I had a great time reading this. All right, my next 5 star is the superstar of 2023 so far, and that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I absolutely loved this book. It was so much fun. It is one of the most fun reading experiences that I have had all year. I was entertained from page 1, and truly, like, my whole thing with reading, the reason that I read, the reason why it's my hobby, the reason why I love it is, you know, I love a bit of escapism, and I just want to be entertained. That's why I'm here. And this book delivered on both of those fronts. I think that this is a very kind of like classic fantasy romance. We have, you know, the military war college, we have dragons, we have, I think, a really fun romance, and that's all I need in this life of sin, honestly. I think that this is a really, really strong start to what is going to be a 5-book series, which I'm very excited about, and there were a lot of plot twists that absolutely shocked me. I'm still just like stunned by the ending of this book. I think about it and I'm like, what? Like, how? What are we gonna do next, Rebecca? I'm scared. I can't wait for Iron Flame. I hope that that's a 5 star as well, and I'll be able to talk about that at the end of the year as one of my 5 stars because I just think that the series has a lot of promise, and I'm super, super excited to see where things go. My next 5 star is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I absolutely loved this book. This book was a ride, okay? It is such an interesting, frustrating, fascinating, just thought-provoking story. The writing style in this book is absolutely addicting, and there are so many shocking moments. There is so much to learn about the publishing industry in this book, and it was just a really, really fantastic read. I think one of the things that just impresses me so much about this book is I have read Babel by R.F. Kuang, and then I've also read this. 2 books that are so different in every sense of the word. Completely different genres, completely different writing styles, completely different characters, and I think that R.F. Kuang was so strong in both. I think that she's just such a special author, and I will pick up whatever she writes moving forward. I think this book is so wonderful. I truly think everyone should read this book. It was entertaining, it was interesting and frustrating, and I think when a book can pull out so many emotions from you, it's gotta be a 5 star. I just had a really, really great time reading this. Definitely my most unique read of the year, and I absolutely loved it. My next 5 star read is Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. I I can't say enough good things. I've talked about this book a lot recently. I'm going to again. Other than Fourth Wing, this was my most fun reading experience of the year. I love these characters so much. I love them more than life. The Band of Thieves is fantastic. This is some of, if not the best, found family writing and dynamic that I have ever read, and that is something that is so special to me, so important to me, particularly in a fantasy novel. It is done so well. I think that the banter is fantastic. I thought that the whole heist plot was super, super engaging, and the romance. Caden and Elowen. They are the best reluctant allies to lovers. Caden is a simp for Elowen, and we love that. This book really delivered on the romance in multiple ways, not only developing our characters' relationships with one another, learning about each other, speaking with each other, you know, banter, all those fun things, and then also like the spice. This book was spicier than I thought it was gonna be, and I was very pleasantly surprised by that, and I just think that this book is fantastic, and I'm really, really excited for book 2 as well. I cannot wait until we get the release date for that book. This is also gonna be a 5-book series, and I'm just so excited to be getting in on it early. And yeah, this was just pure joy, pure happiness, except for the times that got really sad and dark and I started crying, but I was smiling by the end of it because this book is just overall such a fantastic fantasy romance. All right, and then my very last 5-star that I have given to a book so far this year is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I am absolutely obsessed with this book. I think that this is one of the best character-driven stories that I have ever read. I have absolutely zero critiques of this book. Like sometimes I can give a book 5 stars and still be like, yeah, there's some flaws, but I don't really care. I just loved it so much. I have nothing negative to say about this book. I think that this is perfect contemporary fiction. I love Sadie and Sam so much. Oh my God. This book could have been like 200 pages longer. I would have loved to see where the story went and where it kept going. It was such an interesting look at their dynamic as friends, as maybe having feelings for each other, never really having the timing right, but then also having all of these other relationships going on in their lives, death and love and happiness and success and failure, and so many things happen in this book, and I think it's a really, really special one. I was completely hooked, and it had me from the beginning. It had me by the throat from the beginning, honestly. I am so happy I picked this up. Very, very strong book for me. Definitely a new all-time favorite, and once again, a very unique story that impacted me in a really specific way, and I'm really happy that I read this. So you guys, this is my most recent 5-star read, right? Let's see. When did I finish this book? Okay, I finished this on June 26th. I have not given a book 5 stars since June 26th. Today is July 21st. I'm concerned. Like, that is not normal for me. I'm usually giving out 5 stars like every other week, okay? But I don't know what is going on. This is my most recent 5 stars, and like, I love you, but I need more. So friends, those are all of the books that I have given 5 stars to so far this year. It was really fun to go through all of those and to just kind of relive those moments of when I finished those books and I was like, oh my God, this is a 5-star, this is so fantastic. It always feels so, so good to finish a book and just know in your bones that it's a 5-star, it's a new all-time fave, and I am forever chasing that feeling more than ever at the moment. I would love to know, what are your standout 5 stars that you've read so far this year? Like top 3, what are your top 3 5-star reads this year? I would love to know what maybe I could pick them up and also have a 5-star experience, because your girl is struggling. Let's just say that. If you made it to this point in the video and you wanted to let me know, go ahead and leave 5-star emojis. Please make sure that you're following me on Instagram and Goodreads. They are always linked down below. I really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope that you were having a fantastic 5-star day. I love you all so, so much, and I will catch you guys in the next one.